Imagine you're late for work. You were up all night studying, and as a result, you're up all night studying for a test that you're still not quite prepared for. And as a result, you slept in. Now you're kind of beginning to feel like maybe it's just not worth it. Maybe you're not worth it. This is one of the feelings that depression can cause, and it's a surprisingly large issue among college students. I first got interested in this subject after speaking to several of my close friends and kind of seeing how severe depression has affected them and their loved ones. And according to a survey titled National College Health Assessment 2, Reference Group Executive Summary, Fall of 2011, conducted by the American College Health Association, accessed April 2014, it was found that over 30% of college students have felt so depressed that they found it difficult to function at all within the past year. And well, we're all college students, so that actually means that most likely within the past year, nearly 1/3 of us have likely felt the same way. After listening to my speech, you will be persuaded to help out with those who are suffering from depression, whether they're yourselves or anyone you may know. I'll be going over what depression is, one of the major causes of it, why college students may be a little bit more susceptible to it, as well as a couple of solutions to help deal with it. Now, to start with, I'd like to start with what depression is. I mean, it's a major issue among college students, but what really is it? Well, according to an article on mayoclinic.org titled College Depression, What Parents Need to Know, accessed April 2014, as you can see, some of the effects of depression include loss of interest or pleasure in normal activities, irritability or frustration even over small matters, feelings of worthlessness, guilt, fixation on past failures, trouble thinking, concentrating, even frequent thoughts of death or suicide. It can actually even affect us physically in that it can cause headaches, back pain, even shoulder pain. This isn't just a mental thing. It can actually affect our health and really cause damage to us. But what causes it? Well, according to a book titled Annual Review of Clinical Psychology, written by Constance Hammond, improved methods of assessment and research design have established a robust and causal association between stressful life events and major depressive episodes. What this means is that there's a kind of a symbiotic relationship between stress and depression, where as you begin to get more stressed out, depression is much more likely to occur. And as you're depressed, obviously, I'm sure most of us have felt it, you begin to stress out a lot more because you kind of fall into a cycle where you can't really escape. And this is actually one of the reasons why college students may be more susceptible to it, because most college students are young adults who are kind of getting out in life on because college students are kind of young adults who are for the first time getting out on their own and leaving their parents and beginning to live on their own. What this means is that they now have to balance between, making bills and payments for a place to live. They have to balance between work and school and trying to keep up with assignments. And of course, we always want to try and keep the social life active, and sometimes if we're not able to spend time with friends, we end up stressing out even more as a result. And now we kind of have a little bit of a better idea of what we're dealing with. But how do we resolve this issue? Well, one of the best ways to help resolve this issue is actually to seek out a professional and seek some actual professional help. I actually found that there's a support group branch here in Florida for a support group called Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance. Over there is their information, and actually from what I understand, that's one of the bigger branches in the nation, is here in Fort Myers. Also, as was mentioned in a previous speech, we actually have a counselor here on campus in Building Q, room 103. However, I do understand that not everyone's going to be comfortable going to a counselor for this. I mean, it's actually for some reason in the public eye kind of looked down upon at times, where if you try to say you see a counselor, people kind of look, I don't need to associate with you anymore. And it's kind of sad that mentioning depression can actually drive people away, because that's one of the causes of depression sometimes. So what we can kind of do, though, is there are some means we can take for ourselves to kind of help stave off and kind of cope with depression and stress. According to According to an article titled Stress Management on helpguide.org, accessed April 2014, the first thing we should do is analyze the stress in our lives, the source of the stress in our lives, so that we can help cope with it. So the best methods involve, for college students, generally our biggest issues can be work and school. And as such, our first priority should be to learn to properly manage our time. We should always make sure to take at least a few minutes of each day for ourselves to focus on what we enjoy, our hobbies, things we just have fun with. At least 15 to 30 minutes just to relax and be happy with yourself. You need to, when faced with a difficult task, instead of trying to attack it all at once, make sure to try and break it down into smaller pieces. It's very easy to be overwhelmed by a large and impossibly seeming task. But when you break it down, you find that it's much more manageable and much easier to take on. Also, while we may not be comfortable confiding in complete strangers and just finding professionals and talking to them, I'm sure that everyone here has at least one person in their life that they can trust and feel comfortable confiding in. You need to be willing to take advantage of that and say, hey, I need some help. Likewise, though, you also need to be willing to be there for them if they need help. Don't just take in this relationship. It's a give and take relationship, and you need to be willing to help those around you. In conclusion, I hope that you now are persuaded to help out with those who are suffering from depression, and that you now are capable of taking on the depression in your own lives. I've talked about what depression is, one of the major causes, as well as a couple of solutions to it. I just want you to all remember that there always is someone out there who is willing and able to help you. It's just up to you to let them in. And I'll leave you with a quote. Some days, 24 hours is too much to stay put in. So I take the day, hour by hour, moment by moment. I break the task, the challenge, the fear, into small, bite-sized pieces. I can handle the piece of fear, depression, anger, pain, sadness, loneliness, illness.